Many thanks. Now, thank you for joining. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, revealed that Nigeria spends as much as $600 million monthly on petrol importation. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has raised questions over the 2021 approval of 1.5 billion naira for the turnaround maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery. Consequently, the upper legislative chamber lamented that it was unfair and wrong to treat government businesses or public enterprises as an orphan while private businesses are flourishing and thriving. Now, Olufemi, quickly, now, how bad can it get with our refineries hearing this humongous figures, spending $600 million on fuel imports? Now, why did we allow this rot for so long without a workable solution?
We've been on this journey for a long time. This didn't start in 2021. From the days of former President Obasanjo through the Yar'Adua era, Goodluck Jonathan, coming to President Buhari, we've had year in, year out, the Nigerian government investing so much in the turnaround maintenance of our refineries. But we have consistently insisted that government have no business, especially when you look at the fact that for over 20 years, we cannot even return one out of the 4 refineries in the country to functional purpose. So why should government continue to invest in a business it has no business in being involved in? And every year you've had, maintain a refinery work by June, then September, then you hear promises of 3 months, 6 months at some point. It is very glaring that government has no business in continuously running those refineries, especially when you look at how much this nation has invested in those refineries, especially when you look at the number of years we have waited to get these 4 refineries working, to the extent that we are now dependent on importation of refined crude products into the country.
But we've heard that there's been some external influences collaborating with internal forces as well, not to allow the refineries to work.
It's going to work because those refineries have not been wholesomely handed over by the government. If the government has been courageous enough to privatize those refineries and hand it over for people who can do the business, who are expert in the business, I'm very sure no private investor would allow itself to be manipulated by any external influence when it's out to make profit, when it has invested so much in procuring or acquiring those refineries. But because it is still seen as an asset of the government, because it is still seen as an asset that can be manipulated through some of these influences, that is where we are today. And until government totally removes itself from the administration of those refineries, I don't think those refineries are going to work.
We'll come back to if the government can totally, hands off. But Mr. Nelson, very quickly, yeah. Now, the Senate is tending to probe the money spent on the resuscitation of refineries, over $1.5 billion right now. Do you think anything good will come out of this investigation?
Well, I want to give the Senate the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Because that is part of their oversight functions. It's their constitutional responsibility.
Right.
And as Nigerians, we must support them because we have no other country to ensure that justice is done with regards to that expenditure, such that the people are not shortchanged. So I think I must commend the Senate if they have suspected, because when you are investigating, it means you are trying to gather facts. And one only hopes that when these facts are gathered and persons or groups or interests
that are affected
are indicted, are suspected, when you see the light, I hope the Senate will take the whole org of inviting the security agencies and say, look, we have helped you to gather this fact. Continue with the investigation and let the law take its course.
Okay, I want to take you up on this. If the Senate is to probe what is on ground at the moment, what areas should they really be looking out for during this investigation? Do you have a hint?
Well, I want to believe that the areas they should be looking out for is the area of the expenditure of that money. Because don't forget, the Senate has the power and authority to invite experts to help them in their job, because they are not experts in every field.
Yeah.
So where they are lacking, they will bring in experts to come and help them verify.
Auditing of the books.
Auditing of the books. The materials supplied, is it at the actual cost? And then, if they have done that, I think the Senate can now petition based on that findings
Okay.
to the security agencies, because don't forget, the Senate can only investigate and say this is what we have found.
They can't prosecute.
They can't prosecute.
All right. Now, Olufemi, before we round off this topic quickly, now, what structures should be put in place and what penalties should await culprits who would be indicted in this sabotage of refineries? Now, what exactly should be done? You know, it appears that refineries sometimes just have a mind of their own not to work again. So those who actually sabotage these refineries, what penalties should await them if you were to...
There are established laws guiding activities, not just of refineries or institutions of government. I think the current administration of President Bola Tinubu must deepen the conviction of the Nigerian people.
But there's been a call for a total, audit of NNPCL as a body.
Not just the NNPC, the entire petroleum sector, because it is the petroleum sector is not only regulated by the NNPC, the other regulatory institutions, and there have been a lot of issues around the oil and gas sector in Nigeria over the couple of years.
All right.
Now that the administration is bringing to fore some of these issues that have been hidden in the oil and gas sector, I think the administration of President Bola Tinubu must deepen its commitment further by ensuring that there are independent auditing assessment of what has been done in that sector in the past, what is currently going on, because that is going to be a key way in moving forward. I am very sure that if you look at the steps that have been taken over the past couple of months by the administration in repositioning the oil and gas sector, it will not be achievable if the question of transparency and accountability is left behind. The administration is making radical moves at making these refineries work, making the liberalization process work, and getting private sector involvement. But all this would not be fruitful if the administration does not put same energy into ensuring transparency and accountability. So I'm personally of the opinion that as much as the administration of President Bola Tinubu is investing in upgrading, making sure that the oil and gas sector is reformed, it must also deepen the question of transparency and accountability, especially on those steps that have been taken in the past in that
just
sector.
before I let you off the hook, $600 million spent on fuel importation every month. Now, if these refineries come back to work, are we certain that this monies would drop drastically?
It will definitely drop, not even if it's operated by the Nigerian government. Whoever operates the refinery locally, even if it's privatized, will naturally, reduce whatever is spent on importation of petroleum.
All right, let's move on to our final